Broncos at the Chiefs. What is up? Showdown Kings. I got two of them right here. I got JBC and, of course, Statsational. Holden hanging out with you. We do have a free show today, so unfortunately I have to tell you to hit the like button. So hit the like button. That'll be a wonderful thing. Bring the good mojo. For our subscribers, please go into the live show chat and post your questions in there. We'll get to your questions in just a little bit. We got some wind, nasty conditions there in Kansas City from that standpoint. But before we get into the game, talk to me here, JBC. NHL is going, so you're posting a shit ton of bets there. 2 nights ago, one of my best nights of betting ever. Thank you very much. And the bet side's on a roll right now. Talk to me, dude. What's happening?
That's life, man.
All right, we're getting a lot out of JBC tonight.
We've been living this life for 10, 12 years now, man. Like, this is just how it is.
Yeah, well, there you go. Sign up. Run Pure Sports, Run Pure Bets. Let's get it going. Stats, talk to me, dude. Last time we discussed something, it was Mickey Rivers eating shrimp with you at a strip club. It doesn't look like tonight you're in quite a cool place. I mean, it is your dojo, of course, but we got a little stuff to do.
I am actually eating shrimp, though.
Really?
I'm having shrimp. Yeah, I'm just finishing up I had like I made a little stir fry with some shrimp and so, yeah.
What do you think about like non-fresh shrimp, like frozen shrimp? Is that what you're eating?
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to be cleaning it. Like it was frozen. Listen, fish frozen is fine. I mean, and then of course I could. It wasn't like frozen cooked. It was frozen frozen raw.
John, what did you always used to tell me where, like, don't buy fish on a certain day?
Oh, well, don't ever go for sushi on the weekend. You go on Friday night is great, because that's the last time they get their shipment is on Friday. So you don't want to go for Sunday sushi. It's never fresh.
No, you don't want to go for Sunday. And the other thing, I won't eat sushi here in Colorado. It's a landlocked state. I'm not eating seafood here.
You only eat those Rocky Mountain oysters.
I won't eat. I tried one and it was not good. There's a restaurant out here. I can't remember the name.
You're supposed to have the butcher it first before you try it. I mean, that might have been where you went wrong.
That was a good one, Stats. I could appreciate the humor of that one very much. They got a crazy ass restaurant out here I've been to. I had oxen. I had some elk. It's disgusting. It's all disgusting.
Oh, elk is fine, dude.
Give me a steak. Just give me a fillet and I'll move on.
I've had kangaroo steak. It's good.
Kangaroo's good.
They all taste like venison. They all taste like venison.
Yeah. See, I'm not a venison guy. I'm not a venison guy. That's the problem. It's just steak, chicken, seafood. Let's keep it simple. I just want to know, it's totally not the FBI a subscriber, because I have a message for you. If you are not a subscriber, if you are a subscriber, we'll just let it be. But what did he say? I'm here to see Fade Kittle call of the day.
What does he talk? Me and John both said to play Kittle.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell I don't know what he's talking about either. But I always like telling people to screw off. So if he's not a subscriber, I'll just go in on him.
John said his favorite play was Kittle on that game. I'm confused.
Fade every play. I mean, if fading the plays wins for you, go for it. That's just as good advice as if we give out all winners. Giving out all losers is just
you guys. Yeah, I already hit once because of you guys.
Harder.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Sick of Mamba. If I'm eating sushi in the middle of the Canadian prairies, you can eat sushi in Colorado. I'm not doing it, dude. I'm just not doing it. I don't care what you say, unless they're flying that shit in fresh every day. And yes, Dale, very good. Very, very nice to bring up right there. I appreciate that. So, boys, we screw around for 5 minutes, and it's Kurt. Kurt was the one to say,
Kurt?
Okay.
Kurt?
All right, Kurt. You got to make up for that, Kurt. Not a good call.
I don't know who
call, I guess. You don't know who Kurt is?
No.
Oh, he's a good guy. Just wasn't on Kittle the other night. He works with us. It's okay. Weather. We got wind tonight. Not worried about the rain, JBC, but I've read all the studies out there. You'll get about a 20% dip in quarterback passing production, maybe a little bit in the kicking game as well. But ultimately, you have to decide for yourself whether or not you're adjusting for it. JBC, are you adjusted for the weather tonight?
Slightly. I mean, it kind of is inherently built in there, considering the total fell 4 points. All of your projections, all of your props are going to go down. I don't think you need to, because if you're manually editing it yourself from there, you're double dipping.
What do you think, Stats? Anything with the weather tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he basically said it right. And people, it's one of my favorite things, especially when handicapping, when, there'll be a total on the game. You have a total and they'll be like, do you like the under tonight? There's a lot of wind. And I said, are you the only one in the world who knows there's wind tonight?
Exactly.
Like the wind is out there. It's baked in. Like, unless it's something that you know about the weather and no one else knows, like, at 8:15 tonight, like the weather's going to drastically change. Now you've got an advantage. Otherwise, it's baked into the market. So when we're playing DFS, that's it. Those numbers are they're in the total, they're in the point spread, and that's all you have to go on, unless you know something the rest of the market doesn't. And odds are pretty good you don't.
But that total did fall big. What was it, 51 and down to 47?
4 points in one swoop.
That's a lot. And it might be an overcorrection. Who knows?
I mean, the thing is, you have two teams that are heavily passing oriented, and the wind's bad. I mean, I don't think it matters for the kickers as much. I think it matters more for the quarterbacks.
Always quarterback. Wind, yeah. Wind is always is always worse than anything else for the point total. And you're seeing it. But again, the 4-point move, it's been adjusted. And it's in there now.
Still a high total. 47 is still a high total.
It is. There's a lot of unders out there too. A lot of people talk about the under. 17 to 24 miles an hour, gusts with 36 miles an hour. So again, you just have to deal with it yourself. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to play or not play, guys. Just do exactly what you want. You didn't research Kurt's guy today that he hates. We need to do that. Well, who does he hate? Who does he hate? Please let me know.
Who is Kurt?
He's very good at European basketball.
Hold it.
You're fucking with me, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's a good dude. You're going to like him when you meet him. He's a little crazy. He's fakakta, but he's a good dude. Uncle T. What up, Mr. T? Good to see you. We got to pay that pick going forward. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we got this weather bullshit out of the way. We're going to break this down. I'm going to tell you again, subscribers, because we just had a whole bunch of people join us here in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Get in a live show chat. I will take, the questions, call them freeloaders once in a while. Non-subscribers, I'll take questions once we run out, but I'll absolutely go to our subscribers first. As a matter of fact, I had a few guys say that they wanted me to ask you questions before all we got to the questions, so we can do that as well. But first, my friends, 15 straight losses to the Chiefs or the Broncos. They are giving up 450 yards a game, are the Broncos. They have given up almost 1,000 yards of rushing through 5 games. That's almost 200 per game. So I kind of look at some of these things. JBC, I think Pacheco is going to be somebody that is fairly high owned. What's your thought on Pacheco tonight?
I like him. I think he has a high floor, but the price is very prohibitive. You're looking at a situation where you're choosing between taking him and taking Russell Wilson. That, I'm taking the quarterback every time. I don't. He's just so expensive on DraftKings. I mean, I have him a good amount. Probably 50% between utility and captain. But when he's that expensive and Mahomes is as expensive as he is, you kind of have to pick and choose what you're doing. And, I'm going to eliminate Pacheco before I'm going to eliminate Mahomes.
Stats, where are you sitting on Pacheco right now?
I mean, you have to like Pacheco just for the fact that look at what teams have done to this Denver offense, this Denver defense in the running game, right? So, and then when you look, I actually just posted it in our Discord about an hour or so ago, some of the stats for Kansas City Showdowns. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you call it that, but I mean, basically Mahomes, no shock there. He's in 21 out of the last 24 games. Mahomes has showed up 8 times as the captain. And then Kelsey's been 4 times as the captain. Between those two guys, they're 50% of the time they're the captain in the games for Kansas City. I do think there is some value here in taking Pacheco as the captain. I like it a little bit. If you look this year, like a lot of that damage Mahomes was doing was last year. So this year, and what do they play? 5 games, and Mahomes is only only 1 game out of the 5 so far has Mahomes been the captain. So you could make the argument this offense has been not quite as good as they were maybe last year. You could make the argument where the running back in this situation might be better, and then you could get in, you're a little cheaper to go running back instead of Kelsey or Mahomes. So, but honestly, I don't even like. I wouldn't go anywhere near Denver as any of the captains. I'm going like really narrow here and just going to use those top three guys. Yeah, I would stay away from it.
You don't like Roll?
You look in the Kansas City games, like the opposing quarterback is hit twice out of the last 24 as the captain against the Chiefs. And then in the games where they're a big favorite like this, double-digit favorite, it's almost always going to be a Kansas City captain. So I think you can go narrow and stick with the three favorites up at the top, and then mix it up from there. But then that's where what I was looking at, what you see pop up against Kansas City a lot in showdowns is the opposing team's wide receivers. So I think that's where you have to target in the flex.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Because you look at Pacheco, he's set up in a nice spot, but CEH, I was talking to JBC for the show star. I'm like, CEH kind of an afterthought, but this is Showdown, JBC. What's the case for CEH? And then we'll break down all the captain.
I think that most of the projection sites, including ours, Edwards-Helaire is projected very, very high for a 1,000 cost player. And so a lot of your cash builds and things of that nature, they've got him because the cheapies are just not any good. Like the 200 guys are all shit. Justin Ross is okay. He's at 600. Brandon Johnson, 1,200. But, Edwards-Helaire is one of the only usable guys down there. So, I think he'll be fairly high owned, relatively speaking, for a guy that cheap.
What's your thoughts there on CEH?
He's absolutely he's a must play because of what JBC was just saying. I mean, the cheap guys today are just shit. I mean, there's no I don't think there's a $200 guy that I want to play. Like he's down there at 1,000. You're going to have to get cheap in order to get some of the guys that are going to absolutely, like Mahomes is going to be in the lineup way more often than not. So if you're going to get Mahomes in there, you're going to get Pacheco in there. You could probably leave, if you go Pacheco, maybe you leave out Kelsey or vice versa, but you're going to have to go find a cheap option, and there's no better cheap option than CEH tonight.
Okay, let's run down the captains then. JBC, you mentioned Russell Wilson. We got Mahomes. We got Kelsey. Maybe some Pacheco. Anybody else that would be in the mix? And who are your favorite captains tonight? Give me three guys that you're on and why.
Well, I like Kelsey the most, as usual. Favorite team's primary pass catcher. I think with the DraftKings scoring, that's always going to be the best option. Mahomes would be next, just because he's able to rack up so many points in the way that many quarterbacks can't. And, Wilson's third. I really like Russell Wilson tonight. I think that, he spreads the ball around. He runs around a good bit. He's not expensive. He costs about the same as Pacheco. I think that Russell Wilson's underpriced, and I think that's where people may miss, the real value is that Russell Wilson at captain.
Okay. What about you, Stats? The guys we're rolling with the captain tonight.
That's all. I'm gonna go real narrow. I'm just gonna stick to the three top guys with Mahomes, Kelsey, and Pacheco. I could totally see the Kelsey being the top option here, but I would actually. So typically, typically I would go Mahomes as the number one option. With the pricing the way it is today, I think you might have to look at either probably Pacheco and then Kelsey and then Mahomes, just because I don't like too many of these cheap options today.
We talk a lot about DraftKings on this show. What about FanDuel? Anything different there, JBC, than DraftKings when it comes to captains? Because we'll run down the util spots here in just a minute, but does anything change over there on FanDuel?
Yeah, FanDuel, I think you lock Mahomes. It's that simple.
Stats?
I mean, that's usually what you're going to do on FanDuel. I got to bring it up. I'm trying to remember the pricing, but he was a little bit more. It was expensive though, still on FanDuel, wasn't he tonight? Trying to remember what his price was.
I'm just looking up Lil Jordan Humphrey because some guy in the chat said
who's priced on FanDuel? Sorry,
Mahomes.
Mahomes $18,000, so it's a ton.
Yeah, that's I know he's expensive there, so I don't know if he's a must play at that price at the MVP.
I could see rationalizing Russ. Russ is a little more expensive than Kelsey. I'm telling people lock him. My file that I've got right now, Mahomes is 80%, Wilson's at 10%, Kelsey and Pacheco at 5%. I think that it's honestly a little more diverse than I originally wanted. It was tough to run a pure Mahomes file, but if you're not running 150, lock Mahomes.
Okay, well this is good. Let's get to util now. Before we get to actual players, the defenses, and I know one of our guys, I think it was Kanoski, who hit me up. He goes, what are we doing? What are we doing here with the D? And Jay Ruff said the same thing. What are we doing with the defense, special teams? Because all they're doing is winning these showdown slates, guys. Like, when do we hop off the bus?
I mean, I play them all the same. I haven't changed anything I've done as it's been going on, and I'm not going to change anything now. The Chiefs tonight are a much better play at defense than we've had the last 2 weeks. I think there may have been, out of every single showdown that we've seen, this is probably the second or third best play at defense. So especially on FanDuel, I have a ton of Chiefs defense. DraftKings, I'm in the mid-teens, which I'm sure will be under, but I'm not like fading it intentionally by any means, because the thing is, you don't want to just quote unquote hop off the train just because it's been hitting. Like, the Chiefs is a good play tonight, but yeah, I mean, 15% is going to be short.
Stats, defense, special teams tonight.
I'm going to go back to a little bit of the research that I was doing earlier. Only 4 times in the last 24 has the Kansas City defense been part of the equation, right? That they've made the optimal lineup, and the opposing defense has yet to hit in the last 24 with against Kansas City.
4 out of 24, you said, and I said 15%. That's kind of close.
It is close. Yeah, no, I think you're right. It being that 10 to 15% range, I think is fine. And then if you're throwing 150 lineups in, of course you're going to sprinkle in a few Denvers, but single builds, going to find it hard. I mean, unless you're just going to go crazy contrarian, like you would use them. If you did use them, I think you'd have to go, something silly where you'd have them with one of the big, either Mahomes or Kelsey at the captain spot, and then go really,
I wouldn't try and structure it around some type of Denver onslaught.
Right.
It would be like they're getting beat and they randomly get a pick 6, and that's 8 points. And so the defense outscores Dulcich. That's what you're looking for.
All right. So then the kickers, again, wind, kind of like the quarterbacks, a little bit of a downgrade, but JBC, I know you don't give a shit about that. You like Butker, right? So what are we doing with kickers?
I've got Butker a lot for the same reasons that we talked about it a minute ago. It's the bottom of the barrel. This slate is not very good. So, the guys that are cheap, or the kickers, the defenses, they end up in my builds a lot more than they might otherwise. So I'm almost a third Harrison Butker, just because, Andy Reid loves kicking him some fucking field goals. And, even with the wind, they get down to the 15. If they're struggling to throw the ball a little bit, they might end up kicking a lot of short ones.
Stats, kickers tonight. You got any in the pool?
Yeah, I think people will be a little bit underneath on the kickers because of the fact of the win. So I think people are going to be a little more hesitant to take them. I'll give you the last 24. The kickers for Kansas City have hit at 21%. And then the opposing kicker has been in the lineup 17% of the time. So that's kind of right around where we usually are. Like, we're looking at like that 20 to 25% range on the kickers typically. So I think 33% or 30% is going to be even it's going to be well over the market, I think, today, because I think we're going to see people kind of stay away from the kickers with the wind.
Well, I just want to say one thing to what you just said. Normally for Chiefs slates, they've got the cheap options, the 200 cost guys that are usable. True. Usually Watson's 200, usually, and they priced them all up today. So you kind of get backed into kicker a lot more than you might otherwise.
So I'm just looking at the cores right now. This is a free show, so we're not going to give the cores out, but I think we should just break down all these util spots. And I got all the exposures up. So let me just tell the people that are not subscribers what we do for Showdown over here. You have a ton of cores, but in particular, JBC has his core up. He gives you a DK and a FanDuel core, captain, and 2 utils. Will give you a FanDuel, the MVP, 2 utils. Tony's doing the same thing. And then they'll give you the exposure. I mean, they're giving you the actual exposures of their captain pools and their util pools. Nobody else in the business could be doing that. I cannot imagine you get so much. So I believe our code is still RPS 15, by the way. RPS 15 if you want to get in. But I'm just looking at your exposures here. JBC, Mahomes, Kelsey, Wilson, Pacheco. You talked about that. But is there anybody you're going to throw a dart at? Is that part of the strategy tonight? Who are the dart throws at captain?
Well, John spoke about it a minute ago. The Denver receivers, I think, are a very good option because, especially if they get down and Pacheco scores a touchdown, scores a couple touchdowns, Mahomes doesn't end up with very many points in that scenario, and you end up with Russell Wilson airing it out to try and, get back in the game type of thing. You definitely could end up in a situation with Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton having some sort of impact to where they could be captain, especially being cheaper with how prohibitive the pricing is on Mahomes and Kelsey. And, Jeudy and Sutton, I've got them both around 10% at captain. I think they're very viable. Them and Russ both. So I've got them in there.
Okay. And then we go down through the flex plays. Obviously, Mahomes, Kelsey, Wilson, Pacheco, Jeudy, these guys, and even Courtland Sutton. I'm a little scared because I don't have any Courtland Sutton tonight. I'm only playing 5 lineups. I do not have any Courtland Sutton. Is this a mistake, JBC?
He's a worse play than Jeudy. So if you're going to cut one of them, cut him.
Okay. All right. Very good. So stats as far as the util, let's talk about the util on both sites. I talked about Sutton. Jaleel McLaughlin, bad price at $7K. I know there's guys fading him. If it is a game, you guys hate game script. If it is a game script where they fall behind, though, this is a guy they're going to use. Not a good pass blocker, but McLaughlin is a guy that's at least should be on the radar. Rashee Rice, up and down usage so far for the Chiefs. We've got the defense. Sky Moore, who nobody really wants to play. And then there's Jerick McKinnon stats. Jerick McKinnon, who's been quiet so far this season. We got Clyde Edwards at a K at 1,000. We got Pacheco seemingly in a smash spot. Why is McKinnon the forgotten man?
I don't know. I mean, he's plus 275 to score a touchdown. So like in that range of guys where he's right around Sky Moore is 5,400. He's plus 425 to catch a touchdown. P. Ryan's plus 500. So, at 52, at that range, that 5,000 to 5,400 range, he's seemingly the best guy, at least the highest likelihood to get in the end zone there. And you go down to Mims for plus 475. So yeah, I mean, I could certainly see taking McKinnon. It sort of looks like Pacheco now has the number one role. You just never know with Kansas City sometimes, and they'll mix it up. They'll play some different. They'll play different running backs. It's a weird running back game because Denver, you have no clue what's going to happen. They got 3 running backs in there. I don't know what exactly Denver's going to do.
They could just play McLaughlin, like Holden was saying. Like I wouldn't be shocked if they just played him.
I wouldn't be shocked if they gave Javonte a little bit more work, although he's coming off an injury. Right.
I think if you're short building, if you're doing 3 lineups, 5 lineups, something like that. I would punt all the Denver running backs in that situation.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's go down the list a little bit here in the util spots. We just talked about the running backs there. So Samaje Perine, Marvin Mims is another guy. Marvin Mims, JBC, Peyton, for whatever reason, does not think that he is ready to get any work. Now, if Jerry Jeudy's traded, that's going to change, obviously. But Marvin Mims is a guy that is being used as a deep threat and a deep threat only. What's the case for and against Marvin Mims Jr.?
If the wind's bad, they're not going to be going deep. And his props are shit. I think his prop was only what was 17 or whatever. It's tough to rationalize playing him. He's 4,600, Butker's 4,800. Who are you playing? Butker's probably 80-20 on him. So it's tough to, I understand there's high upside, but with the win situation being what it is, this ain't the time.
Stats, Mims, yay or nay?
Yeah, I don't like them, and I don't quite understand what they have going on over there, because they're using Johnson. Like, Johnson's cutting into his snap count as well, and like JBC said, he's pretty much a boomer bust guy because he's the deep ball threat. You've got to think the deep ball is going to be a little tougher to complete today. So yeah, I'm a total fade on fading Mims here today. I just think there's too many negatives with him.
You gotta bench the Panchero guy, I suppose, guys. Panchero's not gonna have a touchdown, according to Hard Jimba. So I think we should call Pacheco Panchero from now on. I think that's a great name. Love it. Then we've got the other guys. Will Lutz just has not been it just hasn't been that good here in Denver. Noah Gray, Kadarius Toney. Stats, if there's a guy that I really don't want to play, it's Kadarius Toney. What a piece of garbage. So I say stick a fork there. Look at JBC. He's like, yeah, that's heavy language.
Thing to say about another person.
What's that?
You called him a piece of garbage. That was mean.
Yeah, not as a human being, though. I'm sure he's a wonderful human being, but for the Showdown slate, piece of garbage to me.
Kadarius Toney is a quarterback playing wide receiver. That's the problem.
Okay. Well, I think, so you think he is more than a piece of garbage, but not your favorite play. Okay. Yeah. That's nice. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, guys. Can I interest you in some MVS? Good. Let's keep going.
I think JBC was replying to someone in the Discord about how he doesn't like MVS here today.
Yeah, I'm not. They just haven't been going to him. And again, we just had this conversation about Marvin Mims. Valdez-Scantling is a deep ball guy. If it's windy, they're not going to throw it to him.
So we'll just go through the rest here. Dulcich is coming back. Now, Troutman is Sean Payton's guy. Dulcich got a couple catches in his only game. The guy can't stay on the field. He just can't. I don't know if they throw him into the Wolves here. His hamstrings just seemingly cannot stay intact, JBC. What do you think about the Dulcich versus Troutman 1v1?
Don't like Troutman. Dulcich or however the fuck you pronounce it, I think he's got, if he stays healthy for the whole game, he's got a great chance to really go off, especially if they're behind. So if he can stay in the whole time, it's a great play. So in terms of tournaments, I love Greg Dulcich.
Where are you on this stats on Dulcich?
I'm pretty even with Dulcich and Troutman, honestly. I mean, I don't love either one. Someone mentioned earlier, I think in the comments, that both teams have been terrible against the tight end. Kansas City actually hasn't. When you look at my positional matchups, they've been pretty good against the tight end as far as points given up to the position. That chart's basically relative to what teams have scored. But they are correct in the fact that Denver's been one of the worst teams to tight end, which doesn't bode well when you're facing Kansas City. But yeah, I've got both of them even. I don't have a lean either way on either one of those tight ends. Don't really love either one of them, to be honest.
All right. And then we just go down to the bottom of the barrel. Stats, you already said Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the best punt at 1K. Then we got Justin Watson, Brandon Johnson, and Justin Ross. Ross is 600. There's a dart throw, maybe a catch, and he could do something with it. Watson always seems to be in the mix for a catch or two. And Brandon Johnson, numbers completely inflated because of the Hail Mary that he caught. I love this kid. I've seen him in preseason the last couple of years here. I think he's extremely talented. He's not getting a lot of run right now. What about the cheapie stats? And then JBC, obviously, your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think Watson's definitely a play here at 2,200. He's just not as good as Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but if you wanted to take a shot at a wide receiver, he's probably the cheapest wide receiver, or he's the wide receiver I like the most under that 3,000 level, in that range is Watson. So I don't mind going there. I just got to give a shout out to my boy Blake Bell also, though, who's at 200, who I did party with early in the year. And he caught a touchdown. Caught a touchdown right after I partied with him. So, you could, when we hang out, good things could happen to you too, Holden.
Probably not. I bet you I'd probably end up in jail if we hang out. It's not good. Yeah, JBC, maybe you can bail me out with all that money you got. Talk to me about these cheap guys. Watson, fine, right? Brandon Johnson, fine.
I like Watson a lot, and I'm going to be kind of puppeting Wiley's point. He always says,
really,
I've got Justin Watson nearly 30%. I think he's better play than Johnson and Edwards-Helaire. He just doesn't happen to be as cheap. Always live to catch a ball downfield. Obviously, not as good with the wind situation, but he's always out. He always seems to be out there. You don't realize he's out there, and he's out there. And I just like him better than all the other people down there.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, a little Justin Watson action. That's wonderful. Who was the guy? I took out a mortgage just to put it on Broncos plus 3.5 alt line.
Oh, you're about to have 2 mortgages.
You're about these. That's funny. All right. Oh my Godfather, not taking the Broncos plus 14. All right. Good luck with that.
That Braves logo.
By the way, go look at Mahomes covering these numbers and the Chiefs covering these numbers. It's not been great. It's not been great. Divisional game. Yes, the Chiefs have beaten them 15 straight times, but come on.
Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. God, what a mess. What an absolute mess he was last year. People here are actually apologizing to Nathaniel Hackett because it's been so bad here. And I don't understand why. I literally call the guy Mr. Potato Head.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't get
Sean
it.
Payton sucks. Nathaniel Hackett sucks. They all suck. None of this is Wilson's fault.
Just because the Jets went in there with Hackett and won, I told you the other day. I watched the game and I've been watching the Jets just to see what's going on with Wilson on and rewatching their games. Hackett is fucking atrocious.
It's horrible.
Their play calling is so bad that I'm actually warming up to Wilson. Maybe not all of this is his fault.
Oh, come on. This is as bad as the Hackett take here.
Russell Wilson's fault. Let him cook, Holden.
No, Zach Wilson. I thought you were talking about Zach Wilson.
No. Russell Wilson's no.
No. Zach Wilson sucks.
Zach Wilson, I'm talking about.
Yes, Zach Wilson sucks. Russell Wilson's not bad.
But I do like Zach Wilson as a person more than Russell Wilson.
Just because he's the MILF hunter.
Yes.
That's the only reason why we like him. I mean, let's just be honest. There's
the
nothing wrong.
The actual MILF hunter, what do you know about him other than he hunts MILFs?
I don't know. But you're talking to a gilf hunter over here, JBC. So I like to take it up a notch.
Are you dating a grandmother?
No, she doesn't have any kids. But back when I was single, the 85 to 95-year-old range was kind of my target. Because if you're dating
grandmother,
yeah, but think about it. If they die, they're leaving everything to you, and it's kind of like my dog and my cat. They're gonna die soon.
A sugar baby.
Yeah, like a literal sugar baby. I could be 49.
You need to work out a little more.
I do work out. I work out 4 times a week, buddy.
Do you have a 6-pack?
Nobody my age has a 6-pack unless they're in Hollywood or they're not straight. That's the only 2 things.
Hold on. We need to get you hooked up with some HGH, dog.
I've done HGH. I was 12. They put me on HGH because I was a shrimp. I was the 3rd shortest kid in school.
Well, you need to do it some more.
That explains that. That explains that forehead.
That does explain that forehead.
All right, back to football. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. I hit up Tony today. The first lady of RPS, Amber Niehaus, has got some new RPS hats. So
Amber.
When we get Amber. When we get to 250 likes, I'm going to give one away to somebody in the chat. So if we get to 250 likes, I'll give you a hat. They're really cool. Nobody's going to be able to see you because they're kind of camouflage. But if you're going for that look, by all means, I say that you absolutely do that. Now, here you go. Here's Mr. Amber Niehaus. Do you got a 6-pack? Seriously, nobody at RPS should have a 6-pack.
Dude, you're just lying, dude.
Why?
If I did HGH, I would absolutely have a 6-pack.
I think you'd have to do Winstrol.
Let's do it.
No, Alex. No. I'm probably getting married within the next 18 months. It's just
say what?
Happening. What?
Am I invited?
How?
No. It's going to be a very, very small crew. Maybe 10 people, 12 people.
How long have you been together?
Over 2 years.
Oh, all right.
If she's going to stick through me through this shit, I mean, that's fine. She's good. She's good. But she is out of town tonight. She is out of time. What's that?
It said, is she watching? Does she know you're about to propose?
Well, I mean, we've talked about it. You know what the best part about her is? She wants a lab-grown diamond because she doesn't want blood diamonds or little kids with their arms chopped off. So I just saved like $2K.
I will say this. There is somebody I know that is a very, very close personal friend that I will not name because shut the fuck up.
I already talked to him about it. I already talked on the air to him about it.
I know, I'm not trying to blow up his spot. He bought a lab-grown diamond that if it was like a blood diamond, it would have been worth like $150,000, and it's lost like a tenth of that.
Yeah. So listen, guys, if you're getting engaged soon, get a lab-grown diamond. And then if your lady finds out, that it is a lab-grown diamond, just tell her that you're doing it because you didn't want a blood diamond.
If she finds out, that means she had it appraised, which means she's trying to divorce you.
Oh, then
you won already.
Then you really got to get rid of her. That's fine. Right. Just get rid of her. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. No question. So anyways, like button. What did I say? 200 or 250? Probably 250. Give you a hat. And then the other thing is time to pimp the product because we're giving you this show free tonight. We have a nice big crowd. And the DFS side, we've added these guys, JBC, Statsational, and Third and Schlong. And you're probably looking up, and Wiley too, probably looking up in the standings. Sometimes you're seeing these names. These are three of the best players in all the land. That in addition to our team, which already I think boasts the best in the business. Big T is on a heater again. It's just absolutely unheard of. This guy was on a 2-year heater. He took a little time off. He's back on one again. We've got JSU, who nobody knows about because he doesn't brag about taking down 100K 10 times a year. AP, listen, Mangone's and don't get upset if I leave your names out. There's just not enough time, but we have an amazing DFS product. Now, stats, Mr. Talker here, the bets product. This has been absolutely a printer. Like I said, 2 nights ago, Tony had a 5-team parlay. I threw $50 down on it and it returned. It was a nice return. Let's just put it that way. A 5-team parlay, different sports too. But what are some of the things we got in the bet side? I know we got all the props in the world. We got sides and totals, but there's also tools that you have, power ratings and other things. What are some of the things that are unique to RPS that people can find here on the bet side too?
Yeah. I mean, not just the bets, like you said, which have been crushing. We've got the prop tool as well. So if you're into prop bets, prize picks, or just betting against the sports books on the props, we've got a tool for that in there. And that's actually, if you jump in there now for subscribers, it's the same rate right now going for subscribers. There's no extra fee on that. So you can check it out before that does go to be an additional fee. So I would hurry up and take a look at that under bets. When you go to the website, under bets, find the prop tool and start crushing prop. That's how I come up with the props. The props that I had for you the other night that everyone hit, it was three big dog props, RBI props. They're coming from those top props. I just kind of filter them. There's a lot of props that show good value, and then I go through them, and of the ones that are good value, I just pick out the ones that I like. So, and you can do the same thing.
Mango, no question. JSU and I had a massive rivalry for about 9 months Mangone and I had a massive rivalry because of JSU. He got us fighting with each other for almost 9 months. Very contentious.
Why would you get into a fucking argument with a couple of midgets?
Oh, jeez. It's not the proper term. We call them munchkins around here. We call them munchkins. Do you want to see my 6-pack, JBC?
Yeah.
Do you really?
I don't.
Okay.
I want
stats was in. I would have shown.
I need to whip out his one nut.
I mean, come on. It's not a. We're not behind the paywall today, man.
Stats. No, you made fun of me. You said that the thing should be dead before I eat a Rocky Mountain oyster, and you've got one nut, and you're the one that's making fun of me.
We're gonna knock a guy who had cancer. I like that. You guys are really. You guys
I didn't know you had cancer. I thought it fell off. I thought it just fell off. How was I supposed to know?
It did not just fall off.
It fell off, dude.
Yeah, that's like you're walking down the street one day.
The only reason people lose their nut is because they have cancer.
Eating shrimp with Brett the Hitman Hart, and all of a sudden your nut fell down. That's fine. Not my fault. Let's get to the questions, okay? Yeah, J Ruff. Absolutely. I love J Ruff. And we got more questions that came in, and our subscribers, J Ruff, just from now on, post your stuff in the live show chat. Will you ask the guys Watson, Dulcich, or Lutz and CEH? Thoughts, guys? Watson, Dulcich.
Watson, Dulcich.
Watson, Dulcich is the way to go. Yeah, you there, Stats?
Yeah, I'm mulling it over in my head, but I agree with that. Watson, Dulcich.
Okay. The other couple questions that we had: how many running backs is too many tonight? From Kanoski.
I don't put any kind of restriction on it.
Okay, Stats.
I mean, I have no problem going 2, 3. Off the top of my head, is going to be tough, but two running backs for sure.
You're telling me, hold on. You're telling me that it couldn't be Pacheco and a Broncos guy and Edwards-Helaire? Sure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Definitely no restrictions on the running back. You're right. Yeah, with Edwards-Helaire in there, for sure, he could get in. You could get 3 running backs tonight. Yeah, no doubt.
Kanoski 69. Other than a wild card play, is fading Kelsey or Mahomes viable? Maybe even both.
If you're fading Mahomes, you have to have Russ. That's all I'll say about that.
100%. But you got to have one quarterback in. But yeah, I mean, if you're fading Mahomes, that's a single entry, giving it a shot. But I wouldn't do it. I'd have Mahomes in there.
He's just really expensive. I mean, there are builds that are decent without him. Like if you're playing Pacheco, Wilson, and Kelsey, like that's okay.
I'd rather go. If I wanted to be different, I'd rather take one of these shitty options at 200 that virtually have no chance of hitting. But if they get you, like they might be in the nuts with 7 points or something like that. If it gets there, if you take the 3 expensive options as opposed to fading Mahomes, so I'd rather go that route and take a guy who's going to be really low owned with Mahomes.
Okay. Then the only other one we had from earlier today, Craig Arvanides, one of our subscribers. What about McLaughlin, GPP captain flyer? I'll just say 5 lineups. I got 1. I'm also not nearly the player at Showdown that these guys are. So that's all I'll say. I don't hate McLaughlin tonight, but that's the ultimate boomer bust.
There's definitely some upside there. If Williams is a little compromised, they may go to him a lot. But it's listen, rationalized at 7,000.
He is priced. Where is he? Well, FanDuel, he's not as good a play because he's not going to be catching as many. You know, it's half point PPR.
Yeah, it's just he's so expensive.
Okay,
the pricing is it's tough. The price is tough, and I don't mind going with the running back against them here. Like just going back to the numbers that I looked at, 4 out of the 24 times it's been the opposing running back in their games. But man, that price and the fact that you just don't know how much of a workload any of these guys are going to have makes it tough.
Brick, how much you leaving on the table tonight? Is 1,000 okay, guys?
Oh, 1,000. Yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
A couple people in the StreamYard chat are asking, or YouTube or whatever the fuck, are asking me what the best play on FanDuel under 7,500 is. It is Valdez Scantling. I know you don't want to hear that.
Are you saying that because he's not a subscriber, or are you saying that because you're serious?
I'm serious.
Okay. How many uniques are you running today, JBC? DFS Dad wants to know.
2.
What do you guys think about playing CEH and Pacheco together from Crowells?
That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys aren't going to get to 200 likes. I'm giving away a free hat over here. All you're going to do is hit the freaking like button. Come on, give me a break. It doesn't take that much. It takes you a half a second. Why are you talking about my shirt, guys? Am I getting married? Why am I getting married again? Screw you, Mr. T.
That shirt looks like the first time you've ever worn it.
No, I've had this for 2 years. I love it. It's a beautiful.
It's a nice shirt.
You look like you live in Boulder.
I look like. All right, I know what you're saying there. I'm not going to take that as a compliment either. I guess. Hey, Playboy Lex. What up, Playboy Lex? He wants to know the best min salary. We've talked about this, but you know what? People are coming in and out. So let's just talk about the cheap guys one more time. Start with CEH, JBC.
Well, he said min salary. Is he talking about like literally 200? I'm going to tell you straight up on DraftKings, I did not play a single player that was 200.
Ross is the lowest at 600?
Ross is the lowest at 600.
Yeah.
And YouTube stats.
Yeah, I can't
the
see any of
only
the
one
200
that I can
guys.
rationalize is Blake Bell. You could play Blake Bell.
that would be the if you had to. But yeah,
John's boy Blake Bell that he partied with until 5 o'clock in the morning.
RPS 15. If you like it, get in 15% off first payment. Butker or KCD straight up from Coach J. Butker, KCD.
Who's KCD?
Kansas City defense.
Defense.
Oh. Butker or Kansas City defense? Butker.
For the optimizer, Playboy Lex saying no min max. I mean, I don't even know what that means. So Playboy Lex, just throw it up there again. I'm a little bit slow.
I don't put min max on utility at all. To answer that question.
You know what, Dale? You reminded me of something. Quite possibly our best sport in DFS is NBA. Not to say that our NFL, MMA, all the other baseball products aren't great, but if now's the time to get in. You will not believe the success that our team has in NBA. So again, RPS 15. JBC, this is from Thomas James Moran. Would you play Dulcich, Wilson, and the Chiefs D in a flex on DK?
Yeah.
You want his whole lineup, Thomas? I mean, geez, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of I don't see a problem with any of
that. Lance, as a Boulder citizen, I hate you. Which, me or JBC or both? Which one? Let's talk about builds here. 4-2-5-1-3-3.
Click what Tony just said.
What's that? What are we doing? 3-3-5-1-4-2.
No, I just clicked what Tony said.
Oh, Lil Jordan Humphrey might get some work tonight, adding him late to the pool. Okay. Did they bring him back up? They must have brought him back up.
They must have.
All right. Well, good. Way to go. Talk to me here. The 5-1-4-2-3-3 JBC, these builds, stats. Maybe you could chime in here on the builds tonight.
Yeah, I mean, typically I could speak for JBC on this one. Never a 5-1.
Why?
And again, if you want some of the stats from the last 24 Kansas City games, it's been really close to a 3-3. The most often it's come out 3-3. The last times they played Denver was a 3-3. Both the last two times last year it came at 3-3. So I think you're looking at four. The 4-2-3-3s, 2-4s. I would get rid of the 5-1s. It's happened. It's happened like 3-4 times with Kansas City, but I think you're better off just sticking to punting the 5-1 plays.
Interesting. Okay. JBC, why never a 5-1?
Well, I mean, for a spread this large, I think you can absolutely rationalize a 5-1. But tonight specifically, I think that too many of the Broncos guys are very, very good plays relative to the Chiefs guys, and I didn't play any of the 5-1s.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off of what he said, right? So so they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times they've been a double-digit favorite in these showdowns, and actually 3 of them were a 5-1. But I do agree tonight's not as good as a 5-1 play because you don't have enough guys that are cheap. But it has hit. The 5-1s have hit when they're a big favorite.
K Fiat in the live show chat. If you captain Sutton or Judy and have Russ in the flex, should you set a rule to not have the opposite in the flex? So basically saying, do you just play one wide receiver?
No, that's overkill.
Stats?
No. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like putting in that restriction. But on the Kansas City side, I mean, if you're playing 150, I wouldn't. But if you're building like 20 or 5 or something like that, I could see not wanting to play a Kansas City pass catcher with maybe a Kelsey, or if you take another Chief pass catcher in the captain spot. So they struggle a lot because he just distributes the ball so much.
Favorite Bronco captain, JPC? It's Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
I mean, yeah. And you could pair him up with a bunch of guys.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be Judy or Sutton, right? It could be Dulcich.
Well, it could be Dulcich. Yeah. Could be what's the fuck you like? Jaleel McLaughlin.
Could be McLaughlin. Could be a few of them. Did we talk about Watson a captain? I don't know if we did or not.
No, he's too cheap. He's too cheap.
Don't do it. Don't do it is what you're saying. But yeah, just going back to Big T, you put it up there, JBC. Lil Jordan, he's here, and Lil Jordan might get some work at 200. adding him late to the pool. Okay. Sounds good to me. Stats is way too nice. Stats, Mr. T said that he'd rather play you than Marquez Scantling. Your thoughts?
A lot of people try to play me.
What happens?
Doesn't work out well.
We have discussed a lot of the questions we're getting, but again, this show's kind of fluid, so people are coming in and out all the time. JBC, this is from our boy Trevor too. He's a subscriber. Just curious, JBC, why such a bad play?
I don't think he's a bad play. I just think he's worse than Judy.
P. Ryan ? This Broncos backfield is a little bit muddled.
I like P. Ryan a lot. We talked about McLaughlin. You kind of lean that way. I'm more on the P. Ryan side of things.
No, I mean, I'd probably take your advice a little more than mine, but again,
well, I mean, it's 2,000 cheaper. Eh?
Yeah, it's cheaper. Watson or Rice? We haven't talked Rashee Rice. Let's talk Rashee Rice then. What are you doing with him tonight, JBC?
I like him a good chunk. He's a similar play to Cortland Sutton. He's 1,400 less, projected slightly less. Just Tony at 4K is a lot better play. I feel like Rice and Tony are basically even, and he's 2,400 less to play Tony. Everybody hates Tony. Play Tony.
All right. There was another one up here I wanted to get to. Judy Watson or Pacheco Johnson? Judy Watson, Pacheco Johnson.
Pacheco.
Pacheco side works for you. Okay. And then again, more questions about the defenses. Of course, we're going to get that because the defenses have torn it up. Either one of you got any defenses in the captain tonight? And what's the exposure? No captain, just the Chiefs defense.
I played Broncos 2-3.
Very small on the Bronco defense. Like I mentioned before, it's in the last 24. It has yet to hit with the opposing defense to the Chiefs. So
they literally have 2 pass rushers tonight, 2 edge rushers.
I mean,
it would take something stupid.
You could get a special teams touchdown, things like that. But I mean, their defense is just atrocious.
Man-to-man coverage, no Sutton tonight. All right, Polish Prince. JBC favorite captain MVP for Malcolm.
Kelsey Mahomes.
Pretty simple answer here, Adam G. I can answer that for you. Johnson or CEH? CEH. These guys are talking about CEH being a great play, especially at 1K. Watson or Ross?
Watson.
See, Jordan saying Jaleel Knight tonight. Let's fucking go. Here's the deal with McLaughlin. Let me talk about this for a second because he went off last week. There was no Javonte. He's not a good pass blocker. That being said, he's got the best hands in that backfield. And if you think that he's going to get work out of the backfield, maybe in a blowout script or something like that, I think he's a great play. And that's the reason why I like him. I just think that he'll be more involved in the passing game. I'm not playing him on FanDuel.
7,000,
That's a lot.
7,800 Sutton. Why would you not just play Sutton?
Leverage, I suppose, right? That literally be the only reason.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Stats.
Yeah. The running backs for Denver are just, again, you
play
play 150.
Have upside at least, like more upside.
Who's that?
Javonte Williams.
Probably, but yeah, I mean, you gotta like the wide receivers a little bit more, and they're all kind of bunched around the same price. So,
thoughts on Pablo Escobar from the premium chat? None.
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, he's not a play. Like I think they're talking like the drug kingpin who's dead.
I mean,
I got it. I'd like to be friends with him, clearly, but
I would never say anything bad about him.
I mean, he's dead
on a freak.
But you never know. You never know.
He could be alive and he could come back.
He could be alive like Tupac.
We did have another serious question earlier today. Butt man or a boob man? JBC.
But
stats.
I'm a boobs guy.
I knew it. I knew you were a boobs guy. Knew it just from looking at you. Definitely a butt man over here too.
Old.
Yeah, well, but my ex was that was all butt though.
You got married?
No, but the girl I met my ex with JBC and his wife. So
okay, and she had a big butt or big.
No, it wasn't big, but that was the best part. Like okay. she had a really nice ass.
All That's good to know. Any concern with Judy's playing time with the trade rumors?
No.
Not at all. Okay. I think we got through everything. If you guys got any questions, get them in now. I don't think we got to 200 likes, do we? 131. That's ridiculous. That's just silly. RPS 15% off first payment right here at Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. The bet side tonight, I don't know, JBC. People got to pay for this stuff. You want to give away a bet or do you want to keep it behind the paywall? It's up to you.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Ooh, I know what to say there. I know what we're doing. I read into that. Can anybody else read into that? I hope you can. Oh my God, Father, my wife's boyfriend really. Kelsey Captain Dulcich Flex ? Yeah, it's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody seems to like CEH tonight.
Here we go. Here's one. I actually did sing the national anthem at the Braves game when I was 12.
Stop it.
With a choir.
Oh, so not solo.
Fuck no.
I didn't know you were
solo.
You're a choir kid. How'd that work out for you?
Well,
look at him.
My grandfather's in the Georgia Music Hall of Fame for gospel music.
No shit. You're learning something new every day. Every day I learn something new about you gentlemen. First, I learned that Statsational's eating shrimp with former Yankees that nobody knows that look homeless at a strip club. And now JBC has a grandfather in the Georgia Music Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Good to hear. All right. RPS 15 is the code. If you like what we did tonight, hit the like button. If you don't, screw off. Last questions from Pepe Silva. Johnson, Pirine, or Dulcich Watson?
Dulcich Watson.
Yeah,
right.
I like that too.
We are going to be doing our show tomorrow, the three of us, picking winners. Actually, I got to ask you guys.
Sorry, to answer that question, I am from Georgia, yes.
Yeah, you're a Georgia guy. We got picking winners. We pick 5 college games. We break it down, side and total. And then the DK main slate, we talk about the betting side on the DK main slate as well. So a lot of cool stuff we got going on here at RPS. Check it out. JBC, good to see you, buddy. Take care of yourself, okay? Stats, always good to see you, pal. I'm Holden. Keep running pure.